Lafferty, and our next guest is Stefan Bewley. Stefan is a director with Altman Vilandrie and Company and primarily advises clients in strategy, marketing, sales, and financial functions across technology, telecom, and internet infrastructure. So our topic is programmable homes and energy management in this session. So one of the most popular examples of programmable home products, of course, is Nest. We've seen it all over the show. The smart thermostat. So what are some of the features we can expect with the next generation of programmable homes?
Well, it's really interesting. This show in particular, I think, has highlighted a wide variety of new advancements. And so there's anything from, say, baby monitors that not only provide video and audio connectivity, but actually two-way voice communication. And in addition to that, I've seen the combination of not only smart lights that have all kinds of colorful lighting, but also our Wi-Fi extenders as well. And so I think there's all kinds of interesting features and functionality, but I'd say a theme that I'm seeing really is the integration of these into single devices. So it's not simply the video camera that's separate from, say, the thermostat that's separate from the lighting or the Wi-Fi router, but some of these are coming together into individual single devices.
Up until now, it's kind of been for the early adopters only. It's been a real geek market for these things. What's changing, and is it getting more mainstream now, or are things getting broader?
Well, I think we're on the edge of getting broader. I think there's several trends that are really helping that. So one trend, of course, is just affordability. The costs, not only for the computing power and the devices, are plummeting, but also the fact that now what people are doing is really they're building on existing platforms. So you take advantage of a smartphone platform, or you take advantage of cloud computing for computing power. And so really the incremental effort to produce one of these is much less costly, both in time and resources. And also it's much easier for somebody to operate. So I don't have to have a customized control panel that's different than my tablet or my smartphone. And so what you're avoiding is, in the past, you started to get a collection of control tablets, like you might have a collection of remotes for all your various audiovisual, and now it's really much more centralized. It's still fairly fragmented, and I think we're going to see further simplification there, but I really do think that that advancement has really helped quite a bit. And then the other advancement that's helped quite a bit is just on the go-to-market side. So when you think about historically, you had these very specialized companies that would come in and retrofit some very wealthy home, and like you said, it was very niche. Now what we're seeing mainstream companies provide mainstream distribution, and whether that's, say, a Lowe's or some other retailer working on that, or it's a service provider like a Comcast or somebody else, the point is you're coming with marketing muscle, you're coming with a combination of services, and you're basically taking that affordability and the simplicity and combining it with the new go-to-market, and that's what's making it more widestream.
We have started to see some cable operators and some telecom broadband network access operators offer the alarm system, take away the place of the security company. Do you think that's going to be, there's going to be more of that, where we'll see more consolidation on the service side, or will we still have specialty companies that do single services?
Well, I definitely think that the home security industry has been consolidating for several years now. So ADT is the largest one, and they're only 25% of the market.
Really?
So it's very fragmented. There's a lot of individual players, and I think that consolidation will continue, and in fact accelerate with the players that you mentioned, like Comcast, other cable companies, and telecom companies. I think generally what we're seeing is it's going to consolidate, one, because these large players are entering, but fundamentally there's some dynamics that are changing. So what we have today is we have people that are expecting a lot more from their home security system, all the bells and whistles that we were just talking about. And it's very hard for a small company to continue to innovate and develop that, whereas a large company might have more resources for that. And then again, what I was talking about earlier with the go-to-market approach, having the resources, the marketing and distribution of a very large company will just further accelerate that consolidation.
The other thing we've seen a lot at the show is the connected home energy management side of things. What's the story there? Why is that so exciting?
Well, I think there's a couple of interesting things. So some of that is a continuation of what we're just talking about. In many ways, the energy management is really an extension of the smart home. It's one more feature. The smart home has interesting lighting, it has interesting video. It also has interesting energy management. So in some ways, it's just an extension and taking advantage of the smartphone platforms and other things. But in other ways, it's also a little bit unique in the sense that there's a greater awareness of the priority for energy conservation, and that's both in terms of a cultural sense, but also in terms of incentives for people to say financial incentives, tax breaks, and other things with solar panels. So I think it ultimately is going to be part of the broader smart home and even other areas of Internet of Things, but there are some unique aspects to it.
You mentioned solar panels. Do you think Internet of Things is going to help consumers be able to sell the power that they generate back to the grid, back to the power companies?
Absolutely. So I would go as far to say as Internet of Things is actually a requirement to be able to do that. So one of the key challenges in the idea of selling power back to the grid is that the grid needs to be smart enough to be able to handle that. And that's in two ways. At the very edge at your home, you need a smart meter that can not only meter what you're consuming, but what you're producing and sending it back. So that's important from a metering and a reporting perspective. And then separately within the grid itself, the idea behind a smart grid is really an Internet of Things grid.
Yep.
And one simple way to think about that is that historically a utility had control of energy generation. And the key job was that they had all of these consumers that had different and volatile levels of energy demand, and they matched what they could control, the energy generation, with the energy demand. And so you could at least control one side of that equation.
Yes.
And if you're having now consumers also generate electricity, you're just taking unpredictable demand, unpredictable energy generation, and you got to balance that. And certainly an interconnected, intelligent, smart grid is going to be necessary for that.
Very much. Well, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.